Pull up Yacht World right now. Filter for Flybridge motor yachts between 46 and 65 feet. Sort by days on market. You are going to see numbers that would have been impossible to imagine in 2022. Boats sitting for 200 days, 250 days. Some pushing a full year at the same dock with the same asking price, getting carved down month after month while carrying costs compound in the background. These are not neglected boats. Many of them were $3.5 to $3.7 million new. Fresh paint, full electronics, documented service records. And they are not moving. The 46 to 55 foot segment was the only size category in the entire North American brokerage market where average prices actually fell in 2025, dropping 5% according to Denison Yacht Sales' 2026 market report, the only category with that distinction. The 56 to 79 foot range lost nearly 1%. Every other size segment held flat or increased. Today, I am going to walk you through exactly why this is happening. 5 forces are hitting this specific segment simultaneously. By the end of this, you will understand precisely why these boats have moved from the pinnacle of aspirational ownership to some of the most financially complicated purchases you can make right now. Subscribe if you want breakdowns like this, not sales pitches. Let's get into it. To understand what is happening to large Flybridge motor yachts right now, you have to understand what happened between 2020 and 2023. The pandemic compressed new build supply chains and simultaneously exploded demand for anything that could get underway immediately. Flybridge yachts that had been sitting on brokerage docks for 4 months before the pandemic were moving in 30 days. Buyers who would have walked away from a boat with 3,000 engine hours were writing checks because there was nothing else available. The result was a valuation environment where deferred maintenance, high hours, and outdated systems did not discount a listing because the next buyer in line would take it regardless. Sellers who bought in 2016 for $2.2 million were listing at $3.4 million in 2022 and getting it. That is not a real market. That is a temporary moment masquerading as a market. The correction was not a question of whether. It was a question of when and how much. The first force now acting on this segment is engine hours and repower math. A Flybridge motor yacht in the 50 to 65 foot range, built between 2000 and 2015, typically runs twin diesel inboards, Volvo IPS pod drives, MAN diesels, or Caterpillar inline sixes, producing between 600 and 1,200 horsepower combined. Those engines have documented service lives of approximately 4,000 to 6,000 hours with proper maintenance. The boats sitting on brokerage docks right now frequently have between 2,500 and 4,000 hours on each engine. Many were bought during the pandemic run-up by first-time large yacht owners who ran them hard without the maintenance discipline that this platform demands. A complete twin diesel repower on a 60-foot Flybridge is a $150,000 to $250,000 capital event in 2025 and 2026, accounting for parts, installation labor, shaft alignment, exhaust integration, and electronic controls. For a boat listed at $1.1 million with 3,500 hours on each engine, the informed buyer's math is immediate. If reliable remaining life is 18 months at current use patterns, the repower is not a future consideration. It is a scheduled certainty that comes directly off the asking price before a single other item is negotiated. The second force is financing structure. Marine lenders have repriced the risk profile of diesel inboard Flybridge yachts in this age and size category, and the effect has been to eliminate the majority of the historical buyer pool. Boats over 15 years old with high-hour diesel inboards now routinely require 30 to 40% down payments when financing is available at all. Interest rates on 60-month marine loans averaged 8.4% in 2024, according to published marine lending data. For a $1.1 million boat requiring 40% down, the buyer must bring $440,000 to closing before the first payment is made. The monthly payment on the financed balance at current rates exceeds $5,500. That math eliminates every aspirational buyer, the person who built a career and wanted to move into serious offshore yachting at the 50-foot level. What remains is the cash buyer. Cash buyers in this environment understand exactly what leverage they hold. They are not competing with financed offers. They are not under any time pressure. They can offer at 30% below asking, walk away if it is not accepted, and return in 90 days to the same boat still sitting at the same dock. The third force is electronics obsolescence. A Flybridge motor yacht built in 2006 was state-of-the-art in 2006. In 2026, its electronics package is a documented liability in the survey and a daily operational problem. Helm electronics on a 20-year-old Flybridge typically include chart plotters, radar, and autopilot systems running software manufacturers stopped supporting between 8 and 14 years ago. Replacement parts for legacy Simrad, Northstar, and Furuno systems from this production window are increasingly difficult to source. More critically, modern vessel management systems, integrated networks that connect propulsion monitoring, stabilization, navigation, and communications into a unified display architecture cannot interface with legacy electrical infrastructure without a complete rewire. A full Helm electronics refit on a 60-foot Flybridge runs $35,000 to $70,000 depending on scope. Gyroscopic stabilization is the second obsolescence gap. Modern buyers in this category increasingly expect Seakeeper gyro stabilizers, which eliminate roll at anchor and reduce underway motion in a beam sea. A Seakeeper 9, appropriate for vessels in the 55 to 65 foot range, costs approximately $30,000 before installation. Buyers who have operated stabilized vessels are not willing to return to a platform without it, and that preference is now being priced into the market in real time. The fourth force is insurance and survey requirements. Marine underwriters have fundamentally restructured their approach to diesel Flybridge yachts that are 15 years old or older in this size class. Full out-of-water surveys are now required every 2 to 3 years as a condition of coverage renewal, and they cost several $1,000s per survey event. For vessels with documented deferred maintenance, which became common because pandemic-era service constraints produced exactly that throughout this segment, underwriters are offering actual cash value policies instead of agreed value coverage. Actual cash value coverage depreciates the vessel with every passing year. A total loss event may not produce an insurance payout sufficient to cover an outstanding loan balance, and it will not replace the vessel at current market prices. Sellers are frequently unaware their boats are carrying actual cash value coverage until the buyer's broker asks the question during due diligence. When that answer surfaces, it changes the financing conversation entirely. The fifth force is annual carrying cost. A slip capable of accommodating a 60-foot Flybridge motor yacht with full tower and beam in a premium coastal marina runs $25,000 to $45,000 per year in dockage. Insurance premiums on a vessel in this size and age class in saltwater markets have increased significantly as marine underwriters tightened their books following repeated hurricane seasons and post-pandemic claims activity. Twin high-hour diesel engines running at offshore crews require professional service at the intervals the manufacturer specifies, and those intervals cannot be deferred without compressing remaining service life further. Add these carrying costs to a boat that is already declining in value, and the annual cost of holding an unsold vessel becomes a number that methodically closes the gap between asking price and buyer willingness to pay. Sellers who have been carrying a boat for 11 months, with $80,000 to $100,000 in accumulated holding costs, understand the arithmetic. They are no longer negotiating around the asking price. They are negotiating around what it costs to continue holding. Deals in this segment are closing at discounts that were unthinkable in 2022. Subscribe for more content like this, and if you want to avoid the costly mistakes most boaters make, I put together a no-fluff guide covering exactly that in the description. The boats that originally sold for $3.5 to $3.7 million are not structurally bad vessels. Most of them are sound fiberglass hulls from builders Princess, Azimut, Sunseeker, Ferretti, Prestige, whose construction methodology was designed to outlast multiple ownership generations. What they are is a segment being repriced by a market that has finally done the full ownership math. The sellers who understand that math and price accordingly will find buyers. The sellers still anchored to what they paid or what their neighbor achieved in 2022 will continue watching the days on market counterclimb. For the buyer who knows what they are doing, this market represents genuine opportunity at price levels that have not existed in years. The inspection protocol is non-negotiable. Get a full oil analysis and compression test on both diesels before any offer is made. Pull the Helm electronics list against current manufacturer support status. Survey the hull out of the water because osmotic blistering and cord deck saturation in the 46 to 65 foot range with balsa cord topsides require physical verification, not seller representation. Confirm whether the coverage in place is agreed value or actual cash value. Factor every deferred item into your offer before you write a number. The boats are there. The prices are moving. The question is whether the buyer did the work before the check cleared.